Hi, I'm Lindsay Walton. I'm an experiential educator and a team builder and somebody who just loves to geek out about human systems. I've always been fascinated by human ecosystems and the fact that good people create complex systems that have unintended negative outcomes. And in this video, I want to share with you a trick that can help you to identify negative impacts in systems. And specifically today, I'm going to explore the education system. So taking a look at the concept of systems, when we have narratives that we grow up in, when we have systems that operate around us, it's so easy to just treat them like something that is. We treat them like this is simply reality. This is the way that the world is. And a comparison that I'll make is I'm walking through an IKEA store. So IKEA has done a phenomenal job of creating stores that encourage a forward path. And as you're walking along, the exits aren't really readily apparent because it channels you through all the different sections, exposing you to as much of the things that they have to sell as possible, as many ideas as possible, until you finally reach the exit. But fire code says you have to be able to get out. There are actually exits. Where on earth are they? They're not obscure. They're not hidden because fire code. But instead, what you need to do is, instead of facing forward and following the path that is trying to expose you to as much of the product as possible, you need to simply turn around, look at the path in reverse, and then all of a sudden all sorts of different things start to reveal themselves. Here are all the exits, here are the shortcuts to get from one department to another, and just here are all the little things that maybe you didn't notice because the encouragement was to focus this way. So in systems, looking at it from behind, reverse engineering it, so many amazing things can happen. So let's take a look at how reverse engineering the education system can actually help to save you tens of thousands of dollars, can help you to escape the rat race, can help you prevent the rat race for your child in the first place, and can help you to really take control of your life, not be swept along in a current because you weren't even aware that it was there, but instead take control of systems as tools in your toolbox. I am going to make this work for me because I know what I want out of life, and I'm going to make sure that the system helps me to get there instead of derailing me from that path that I want. And so let's take a look first of all at what that forward narrative is, the one that we're so used to that for many people it's just reality. They don't even question it. It's like a fish in water, or like us walking around in air. We don't question the air. It's just there. Does this narrative sound familiar to you? So parents learn that they're expecting. And so as the news goes out, there's a baby shower, gifts start to come their way. When financial gifts come their way, several of them are earmarked for your child's education. This is for their education fund. They're not even in the world yet, and we're already talking about education. The toys that are starting to arrive, many of them on the package are saying they're educational toys that they will help with your child's development in, and list whatever skills are on there. So baby arrives in the world, they are being focused, educated with toys and tools and methods that are all intended to set them up for success in preschool, which then helps them to be successful in school, which then helps them to move into high school where they really ramp up so that they can get those great grades, which is going to make it possible for them to get accepted into a great college or a great university. By getting that diploma or degree, that's how they're going to get that great job with that great paycheck. With that, they're going to be able to purchase their home, raise their family, save up for retirement. When they retire, that's when they can rest, enjoy that success that they've achieved. Now, if anything's not working along the way, maybe cost of living is going up unexpectedly. Maybe, there's some debt in there, that house costs more, something else happens along the way. That's okay. Professional development to the rescue. Either you can continue different kinds of training and increase your earning power that way, or you can go back to school, increase what education you have. Go get your master's, go get your doctorate. And then with that earning power increase, there we go. We're back on track to experiencing that success, that wonderful retirement that everybody's waiting for. That narrative is so familiar, so pervasive that for many people, they've never questioned it. And so here in this video, we are going to take that path, turn ourselves around and walk through it backwards and see what some of the things are that can be revealed. So I'm going to start at the doctorate, and just again, before we dive into any of this, one, good people create complex systems that have unintended unintended negative outcomes. So there's no blame, there's no anger, we're not looking for evil elements, or ascribing, evil to anybody, for the negative outcomes that are experienced. However, in systems, especially large complex ones, it's not unusual to identify at some point a more conscious, intentional, less friendly element that might need to be addressed, but they are few and far between, and those individuals can be dealt with along the way. So we're going to focus on, these are really good people, especially in education. It's like healthcare, drawing in of good people with good intentions, and just some negative things can happen. So there's that. As we reverse walk through, this is also just a small section of a much more complex and large system. So we're only looking at from conception until PhD. We're not taking a look at lifelong learning. We're not taking a look at becoming a professor or something like that and all the other systems involved. Small snippet of a complex system. So here we go. Let's start with the doctorate. So somebody wants a doctorate. We heard through that narrative earlier that, college, university, you have to get your degree and then get your master's and get your doctorate. But when we look at just the doctorate, how do I get a doctorate? You can follow that path, but also one can just be handed to you. Happens all the time. And so if you're wondering, wait a minute, hold on, that's a doctorate, especially people who did jump through all the hoops. What do you mean people just get handed them? Let's take a look, hop on Google, and you can find stories of how many people have been handed an honorary doctorate. So how did they get that? Well, instead of going through the system, what they did was they went and they lived their life and they pursued their passion, and they ended up dedicating naturally so much time and effort into growth in that skill set and that knowledge. They became a recognized expert. And so other people went, well, we would like to honor that knowledge and experience, that expertise. And so, we would like to issue you, this is an honorary doctorate. Congratulations, you're a doctor. And some people have known that they were going to be receiving that. Other people, it's been a complete surprise. They woke up that morning not knowing they were going to be a doctor by the end of the day. And so, they're invited to be a speaker at a post-secondary institution, and then at the end of the presentation, and we would like to acknowledge, and all of a sudden here they are holding a doctorate with their name on it. So dedicating yourself to your passion, to the thing that matters to you, naturally just investing your time and life in the things that are most important to you can actually result in receiving a doctorate without having to go through those other hoops. Okay, so then a master's, we heard the narrative going this way. What about if we look at a master's going from the other direction? How could I get a master's? Well, a master's is essentially a paid for certificate. So what does that certificate represent? It represents that I put in this time and effort. I demonstrated a level of expertise, a level of proficiency in communicating my expertise. So I get this. But if the certificate represents those things, time, proficiency, expertise, are there other ways that I could communicate that? And the answer is absolutely yes. So other individuals, the way that they communicate that they have master's level proficiency is that they simply communicate. They just do their thing. So people are able to recognize, as you are discussing this subject, I recognize master's level proficiency. Other times people create documents. So self-reporting academic records. And there's a couple of different ways you can go about doing this. Self-reporting course syllabi, self-reporting course transcripts, creating a 10,000 hours expertise log or a 20,000 hours expertise log. You can take a look at just creating a self-reporting academic record that is just, this is the time that I have dedicated to learning on this specific subject or this knowledge, this skill. And when you do that, then it's anything and everything. I spent an hour on this. I spent 6 hours on this. I attended this conference. I have this course syllabus from this. I have this workshop syllabus from here. And it's this assembly of this education that they've gained by going out in the world and pursuing opportunities that mattered to them, that resonated with them. So there's another way to achieve master's level proficiency. And in the end, it really comes down to being able to communicate just what you've done, what you have gathered up to this point. So a master's, there's a lot that you can do there. For anybody who's concerned about, well, hold on, no, a master's and a PhD matters for very specific things. That's an important point to make. It is for very specific things. So in a regulated profession, such as if somebody wants to be a family physician or a surgeon, then yes, you do need to follow the path this way as a general rule. If you would like to be an engineer, not just somebody who does engineering, because anybody can do that, but if you want to be an engineer, which is a regulated position, then yes, you do have to come at it from this point. However, you can do a mix of things. And so that means that you can use self-reporting academic records in order to communicate to an institution, I've done this learning on my own. They combine that with, well, here's our path and how do we combine these things, and then get you through to where it is that you're trying to go. But a master's, again, just a paid for piece of paper. It represents something else, and that something else can be obtained in other ways. Well, to get to the master's, we were looking at, you had to complete a degree in the first place. What is a degree? We saw it from this direction. Jump through all the hoops, complete the classes. I'm almost there. Yeah, graduation time. Well, if I come at it from this way and I'm holding the certificate, what does this certificate represent? And a diploma or a degree represents a completed package of learning. And it's really worthwhile to stop and pause and recognize that if somebody needed 40 credits to graduate, have fun looking up what credits are and what that represents and the whole madness around credits. So I'll use 40 credits as an example. If somebody completes 39 credits, but life interferes and they can't complete that institution's pathway for completing a 40th credit, they don't get that final certificate. They have all of that learning, all of that experience, all that completion, but can't get the certificate. So it can really help us to start to evaluate and question, where's the value? Is the value in owning the piece of paper? Is the value in having completed the learning and having the knowledge and skills that results from that? And in the end, then, what actually communicates what I've learned, what I bring to the table? In the end, it gets a little bit questionable. It's not really the degree or the diploma. That's more the congratulations for completing a package. What actually says what I learned, what I can do as a result of dedicated learning time, are different documents. Your course syllabi, so the outlines of what will be learned in each course, that says a whole lot more about what you've learned and what you know how to do than that degree or diploma does. A course transcript is a list of all the courses that have been completed. That gives much more insight into what somebody knows or can do than the degree or the diploma does. And so there's a lot more detail in those documents, and it also gives credit to the learner when they have 39 credits and the degree won't be issued unless you have 40. So we start to see again that emphasis on self-reporting academic records, knowing how to be proficient in communication to say, this is the value that I bring to the table. That the importance of knowing how to do that is being highlighted here, not relying on other people to say what my grades or my completion is. If I take ownership of reporting my academic advancement and academic success over the years, I have a lot more control over this journey. This becomes even more important when we start to take a look at the madness of what's happening in high schools right now. So when somebody wants to make that transition to college and university from high school, they don't get to just choose. And yeah, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to continue like grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12, college, university. They don't have the choice of just continuing. They have to apply, and that matters. They have to pay, and that matters. So when we take a look at that process from the reverse side, then we're starting to take a look at, well, how do those students get into the system in the first place? The colleges and universities that want to have those students come and pay for their prepackaged programs do advertising. They try to let as many people know as possible about their institution, the quality of their programs. They want to have as many eyes on them as possible, attract as many applicants as possible, because then that lets them as a business choose who are the best candidates to have on board with us. We want to make sure that our business process is working as smoothly as possible. If we onboard people that can't thrive in an academic environment, that's not ideal for anybody. How do we filter? How do we have the highest quality pool of people? And so to have a high quality pool, you need to have a lot of fish to fish from. So the advertising departments are responsible for attracting as many candidates as possible, and admissions officers also help with that. And that filtering process then of, now that the applications are coming in, and our admissions officers are going, I'm responsible for filtering, creating the best quality pool of fish, but I have all these applications to go through. We recognize that, okay, a human being tasked with going going through all those files, that adds up to a lot of human hours. Okay. And from a business perspective, that costs a lot of money to pay enough people for enough hours to go through all those applications and find the quality applicants, filter out the ones that know this isn't going to work. So in the information age, how do we simplify this process? We replace people with an application management program, application management software. And so if we can digitize this process, then we're able to pour the information into the system, set what the parameters are for what we consider a high quality candidate. And then the computer is going to spit out for us, here's the list of people to accept. These are the ones to, nope, this isn't the right fit based on what you told me to look for. And so a computer takes over that process. And as you enter, what are the search parameters? How to identify a great candidate? Well, then what are those things? Are we looking for volunteer hours? Are we looking for breadth of experience in their communities? Are we looking at how good their essay is? Not usually. What the application management software is usually programmed to look for are grades. And that's a very simple thing. This is an academic environment. We're looking for people who thrive in an academic environment. How is that measured? That's currently measured in grades, unfortunately. And so then here we go. Let's find the people who have great grades. We put in their transcript, their high school transcript, or their homeschooling self-reported academic record, their self-reporting transcript. Boop, in it goes. And computer goes through that and here's the list. Here are the people to accept. And so how does that impact then the high school experience? Grades, 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 grades. The messages about grades, the pressure to get good grades. If you were wondering where on earth was all that coming from, especially when you get out in the world past the post-secondary experience and realize, like, you ask for a mortgage, they do not ask for your report card. When you go to your doctor's appointment to talk about your cardiovascular health, they don't ask about your grades. Your child does not care if you got straight A's. They want to know that you're going to keep them safe, that you love them. They don't care if you got straight A's. Grades don't matter. Like, where do they really matter? In later stages in life. And yet in the high school experience with these students who, know the path going this way, and they're being told, get good grades, they are punished frequently if they don't get those good grades. They are told what horrible life is waiting for them if they don't get good grades. Failure, all just horrible messages that cause insane amounts of stress. Where is that coming from? We get a little bit of insight when we start coming at the system from this direction. Pressure to go to a post-secondary institution and this filtering process that if you don't understand that that's what's going on, you just get swept along in the current. You just know this is an expectation on me. So there's some problems. We found an application management system that is influencing a lot of things around it in its sphere. So then if high school students, not knowing about this robot gatekeeper essentially and how it's being used, if they don't know about that, then they just know the pressure to get good grades has absolutely ramped up. But because that pressure is so intense, this is the time to get those good grades, and especially grade 11 and then grade 12, the pressure is on. Then, well, how do we make sure that they're set up to get those good grades in the first place? Well, we have to make sure that in elementary school, they know how to get good grades so they can thrive in a high school academic setting. And how do we make sure that our elementary students know how to get good grades? Well, we need to, prepare them. So preschool is really important to help them get those good grades, to help them get those important gatekeeper grades to be able to make it into that next part of the system. So we start to see that grades pressure push back. Where was it coming from? And why on earth is a 6-month-old playing with a toy that is dedicated not to connection, okay? Not to development of self and just, the skills of just, you were just living life and growing as the wonderful human being that you are. Why was it so focused on preparing you for preschool? Well, because we start to see these two angles, these two points of view being put together. That's where that was coming from. Oh man. Okay. And so last thing I want to take a look at is just that financial question that came up. Parents learn that they're expecting, and they receive a card with a congratulations and a check inside. And that check or that promise to e-transfer, is saying this is for their education fund. What on earth is that all about? And when we look at the system from both directions and realize, hold on, the cost of getting into those post-secondary institutions, the astronomical cost of attending a post-secondary institution that isn't just offering learning and growth, but is offering a certificate for a very specific pre-packaged experience, it costs a lot. And many families actually have to save up for 17 years in order to be able to afford that very specific experience. They may even need 21 years. You know, we got you in the door, we can get you started, but then you've got a student who's trying to study and also has a side hustle, has multiple jobs, just trying to finish, pay for tuition to get to the end and get that completed certificate. We start to put these two perspectives together and can realize here are some problems. Absolutely unnecessary grades pressure at young ages. Absolutely unnecessary grades pressure in high school if students don't know that post-secondary institutions selling pre-packaged learning experiences, that's just one of the options that they have, that they can actually go and pursue their passions. They can go and, you know, get a job and learn on the job and communicate to that employer, I want to complete my higher learning by learning. What do you say I need to do with excellence to be the best employee that you've ever had? I want to excel at this. Tell me what I need to know, and I'm going to pour myself into learning that. What employer doesn't want to hear that? They have options. Systems, if we don't recognize that they're complex and we don't recognize that they are systems instead of pure inherent reality, then we get swept along in the current and we lose control. This is just a video where I'm jibber jabbering. I'm having fun geeking out about something that's important to me and that I think more people need opportunity to start conversations about and to explore and understand better. So just here in this video, this is just, you know, touching on the subject, but I do hope that it gets you thinking about systems that you participate in, especially the education systems in our lives. And with that, may that empower you to start taking control, to start making conscious choices about what you want. May you be able to recognize this is, you know, life is short, okay? And when I reach the end of it, am I going to be happy with what I did with it? And so take control of your learning journey. Take control of your lifelong living, learning, growth journey, and make sure that it's heading in the direction that you are going to be satisfied with on your deathbed. Make sure that what you're learning about that, how to take control of your life and head in a good direction, that you're passing those lessons on to your child, helping them to be able to recognize and engage with the narrative that they're growing up with as early as possible so that they can take control and not be swept along. Get them out of the current that they're being pulled in, get them into a boat that they can steer. And so having said all of that, having jibber jabbered and geeked out about all of that, I have a comprehensive guide that I have put together that is clearly laid out for parents who are looking at how do I protect my child from the rat race? How do I make sure that my child knows about the narrative that they are surrounded by? How do I make sure I'm informed about it? And how do I help my child to get out of the rat race by never entering it in the first place? I've taken my 20 plus years of experience as an experiential educator, team builder, somebody who has seen behind the scenes and interacted in the formal system and in the alternative education system. I've taken all of that and put together for you just a phenomenal package, a powerful package of the information I think parents desperately need to know and need to be able to teach their children. So you can find that in the description, and please, just anybody else you think might benefit from this video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel so that you know when I've got more videos. Follow me, and I just hope you have a fabulous day. All the best.